Rituparna, thanks so much for joining us. Some really interesting finds in the latest report that you've put out. Tell us first, how the overall scenario when it comes to hiring and jobs is changing. Are we seeing a significant shift from perhaps the worst of it in 2020? What's the overall sentiment like?
So I think we're still not out of the woods,
Mm.
but I guess there has been. So let me answer this question in parts. First and foremost, there were certain sectors which were not as much affected by the pandemic as probably the other ones. And those sectors would be e-commerce, essential retail, healthcare and pharma. I think these sectors were pretty much stable. As a matter of fact, a lot of them witnessed a spike in demand.
Right.
Of course, by and large, all the other sectors bore the brunt of the first wave as well as the second wave. But I think the sectors which are now looking up are BFSI, telecom, engineering and manufacturing. We are seeing some amount of resurgence. Okay. The evergreen sector of technology is not worth mentioning because it's been, things are getting better and better in that sector. So I guess that's boom time in that sector in any case. So in terms of the quality of jobs, in terms of the ability for the willingness for organization to pay a much higher premium for super specialized job roles in technology is clearly evident. So I don't think we should expect a complete turnaround because I think it's a factor of the vaccination process. However, I feel that you will see an improvement in the job sentiments, particularly in the metros first. So namely, I think Bangalore, Delhi, bit in Bombay, and some of the other cities is where most of the pickup will happen. And if you ask me why these cities, is clearly because they've always been job magnets, clearly. And the second is that the vaccination drive per se has been far more active in these places as against the hinterlands and so on and so forth. So I think people's confidence, because after the second wave, the challenge was not a demand problem. The challenge was actually the supply side. The apprehension and the angst of people to get back was much more. But with the vaccination, we see a little bit of easing in that around those factors. And I think the research that we recently did talked about a little bit about the revisions and increments. While the medium increment has been about 7-8%, but we are seeing that there are outliers for technology and sales. Right. So technology job roles and sales job roles are very much in demand, and there is a certain amount of premium. Obviously, technology has much higher premium than, or is getting much higher revisions than probably sales. But sales and technology are definitely two key segments or job roles to look out for. Technology, because the world now can't move without technology. Yeah. And sales, because the world can't grow businesses without salespeople.
So has work from home played a critical role here in terms of opening things up for those applying for these roles? Are companies still being accommodating when it comes to work from home?
So, we have to realize that almost 88% of India's workforce are in outbound jobs. So for them, work from home is not an option because the nature of the job is such it has to be done outbound. So in any case, work from home is a benefit that a very tiny section of the workforce that can enjoy. And those who have the liberty are definitely exercising it. However, like technology is one area where work from home obviously has picked up, and we are seeing it quite prevalent. In organization, managerial and senior leadership roles, they have the luxury of working from home. Like you can't work from home, I'm assuming.
No.
So there are a lot of such frontline roles which just can't happen effectively sitting at home. So while it's an optionality or call option that organizations have created for themselves, but One is the nature of the jobs, and secondly,
Sure.
people are also realizing that social capital is a very important wealth for organization
Hmm.
to grow, survive, and build a well-knit
Sure.
organization.
Sure.
That has completely eroded in the last 14 months. I mean, we have overdrawn on our social capital, and it's
Hmm.
so many companies who made news saying that we will 75% of our workforce will go completely work from home. The very same organization are coming out and saying that we are just so eager to get back to our offices. And if you
Okay.
look at US, I can see the same trend. Large financial institutions with deep pockets, even the
Hmm.
likes of Apple, they're all talking about coming back to office. So I
It's
guess
true.
it's an infrastructure which has been built and a capability
Hmm.
which has been built. But I guess organizations are still, they still understand the merit. The
Right.
individual contributor job roles can be done from work from home environment. It's
Yeah.
helping women workforce a lot because women workforce found themselves at a disadvantage because of the commute time, because of working hours. I think those flexibilities are now in place. And hence, I do feel that there is a possible upside in amidst all of this for women.
Sure. Okay. You also mentioned in your report that pay parity is now better as well between temporary and permanent jobs. How does that stack up vis-a-vis people coming back to office? Is that going to change again?
Sure. So, when TeamLease started in the space
Hmm.
in 2002, the point was that you're trying to there was a labor arbitrage when it was a labor arbitrage associated with temp staffing, right?
Right.
So somewhere organizations were looking at this as an option of reducing cost, but those needs have changed right now. So
Hmm.
organizations are looking at temporary staffing for flexibility, for ability to scale up very fast, for ability to manage through the ups and downs. And so I think what they look focused more on is on the skill, which is
Okay.
a time bound skill. And hence, the difference between a job role which is permanent and temp from a pricing perspective, if I were
Yeah.
to from a wage pricing perspective, there is a we are veering towards some amount of convergence where the only difference is going to be tenure. So the
Okay.
organization is saying, look, I want a certain person with a certain skill set, but I want that person just for 6 months.
Hmm.
And hence the organization is willing to pay the market price for that skill set. So the focus is more on the skill for a fixed duration
Hmm.
rather than the fact that this is a temp job and hence, let me try and shortchange. So that's not anymore the outlook.
Okay, so if we were to kind of sum up, you mentioned, of course, some of the cities that are booming. You mentioned the kind of increments we're seeing across sales and tech, and some of the sectors as well outside of that. What would you say have been the sectors that have recovered the fastest, and where do you feel are we still seeing the worst performance? Just from the aspect, someone out there looking for work, what they should anticipate, let's say, over the next few months.
I don't think I can say that there was any sector which made a very quick recovery because
Okay.
the damage was quite deep. But yes, I am, like I mentioned, I think financial services have made a good comeback. I feel that telecom companies were a backbone. So I think they are obviously doing much better than manufacturing and engineering companies, because while they had certain relaxation based on the pandemic rules and regulations, they were lacking in the people front. But I think they were able to manage that, and I see improvement. And the PLI scheme was announced, so they are eager to make use of the benefits of the scheme as well. The other sectors like the lifestyle sectors are continuing to be badly affected. you might find certain very, 5-star hotels booked during weekends, but that's not a reflection of the apathy that's there in the entire hospitality industry. The aviation industry is still struggling. Restaurants and entertainment centers are still not. I mean, they're nowhere close to where it ought to be. But I think it's through time we will see a gradual uptake and improvement in those areas.
Okay. So outside of IT and sales, where we're of course seeing a larger uptake in terms of percentage, what would you say is the average increment that people can continue to expect? I mean, I know it'll be phased out across
7 to 8%.
industries. Yeah, 7 to 8. Okay.
7 to 8% has been the case for this year.
Yeah.
Because last year, most companies did not give out any increments.
Yeah.
So I think there is a, the water boiling situation in any case.
Sure.
So I guess it was much needed. But then some sectors have done, I think in our study, if I'm not mistaken, about 5 to 7 sectors, there has been an above average kind of increment, but the rest are but another sector I missed talking about is the education sector, which has done very well through the last. So education technology, edtech, I think has flourished over the last.
We've been reading a lot, Rituparna, about IT companies giving all kinds of perks and benefits. IT and tech companies giving all kinds of perks and benefits to retain talent. Is that a trend you see continuing?
That's just that's an anomaly.
Okay.
I
was hoping it would spread to other sectors.
But the thing is that finally it comes down to business.
Got it.
And we always, even employee benefits, you need to strike a balance, because we have seen how organizations who have been fueled with these large valuation have also ended up burning themselves also very quickly because of these unrealistic expectation settings. And one should not ever fall prey to aping some of these anomalies, in my opinion. Yes, employee benefits is important, but it needs to be measured. It needs to be something that you can sustain over a long period of time. And it's not for it's not to make news. It's actually meant to motivate, encourage employees over a long period of time. So yes, I have read those news, but those are exceptions.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us, Rituparna. Great chatting with you, and look forward to going through more reports with you over time. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.